What is the corner store and why are people waiting there?
The corner store is, well, it's one of the hottest restaurants in New York City, and it's been that way roughly since it opened, I think, the middle of last year, I want to say. I could be wrong
Okay.
about that.
2024.
But the corner store, however, does nostalgic American food, occasionally childish nostalgic American food, such as fancy pizza rolls, also French dips, also steak frites, and caviar lobster rolls.
Right.
It's kind of like country clubby and club strati at the same time. It's very buzzy. And it's been super hot ever since Taylor Swift ate there specifically. I think that was the turning point
And
for
crap.
the corner store. So we walked by last night, and yes, there's a line forming outside the corner store. It's 95 degrees.
95 freaking degrees.
Yeah.
Who are the people who stand in these lines?
Our line's the whole point.
And this was our opportunity to kind of find out.
It's the perfect opportunity.
Hi, I'm Hannah Albertine, and I'm a senior editor at Infatuation. And I am a restaurant person, not a line person.
And I'm Bryan Kim, editorial lead in NYC for Infatuation, and I wait in way more lines than I would like to.
And this is Restaurant People, the show for people who eat at restaurants.
Sometimes.
Brought to you by Infatuation. Today on Restaurant People, we are talking about the strange phenomenon of people waiting in line for food.
On today's episode, we're bringing in a staff writer from New York City, Willa, to play a fun game called How Long Would You Wait?
I can't wait to hear the rules. And we got some fun responses from people waiting in line for one of New York's liniest restaurants.
All right, so we're in Soho. It's 95 degrees. We're walking down West Broadway outside of the corner store when we see this line starting to form out of right in front of the front door. And the people who then joined the line later on got us thinking, our line's the whole point. Are people waiting in lines just to wait in line?
It's something I've been thinking about a lot, but then seeing these people in line at the corner store, I couldn't help but wonder, do you have to be a line person to be a restaurant person?
Speaking from experience, I can say that you do have to be a line person to be like a hot, cool new restaurant person in New York City.
The waiting in the lines is the common denominator.
You got to wait in line. Let's hear some of these responses from the people we talked to in line outside of the corner store at 4 p.m. when it was 95 degrees outside.
So Bryan asked, what is the appeal of the corner store? And this person, Annalise, said, I like all things American shareable cuisine and yummy desserts, so the Sunday is obviously on my mind. It's also the social aspect. I want to put it on my Instagram and say, hey, I've been here. And then Annalise's friend Alberto chimed in, who also works in tech and lives in Brooklyn, I think. Alberto said, we do this thing 2 times a month. We go and wait in lines at some of the hardest to get into places and try to get a table. This is the only place so far that has broken us.
I really respect Annalisa for saying, I just want to post it on my Instagram story or post it on my grid. And, and that's part of the reason why I want to go. She was very honest with us.
She was.
And,
she was proud of it.
Yeah, why be ashamed? You just want to have it on your grid or your story as a trophy.
It's a trophy.
Yeah, so just conquering these lines is a game for them.
Grid posts last a lot longer than Sundays.
Yeah. But so they do this twice a month. They go out to these long lines, specifically restaurants with long lines, not great restaurants, not good restaurants, restaurants that have long lines.
That is their qualifier. That's like how they seek out things.
Yeah, so for them, lines are the point.
And then, Bryan, you asked, do you think a line impacts how much you like a restaurant? And Annalisa said, the harder the fight, the more you want it. Because we might not get in, it makes it all the more appealing. It's part of the fun. And Alberto said, even if the restaurant is a miss, it's a cool experience. It would be very disappointing if it didn't live up to the hype, but it usually does.
But why does it usually live up to the hype? It makes it all the more appealing, and that's why it tends to live up to the hype, because it's just, you convinced yourself that it's so great and appealing because you fought so hard for it.
It would be so sad to be disappointed by that. So you almost don't want to admit, even if something is totally fine,
right,
mediocre, you don't want to admit that you put so much effort into trying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many different reasons. Is it because we're more annoying people in general? I don't think so. Maybe.
Well,
there's just more of us. There's just name a city in the U.S. with more people.
Well, it's densely populated and not a ton of space.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it.
Yeah. A ton of people, but also we do have a lot of influencers, I will say.
So many.
Influencers waiting in lines at these places and influencers spreading line propaganda. I wrote a piece on this called "The Most Popular Food is More Popular Than Ever" or something like that. And I talked about something called emoji food. It's food that does really well on social media because it's so recognizable. You look at it and you think, I know what that is, and it looks delicious. It looks delicious because I've had other things like that were delicious, right?
Yeah.
It's dripping cheese. There's juice. It could be a burger. It could be a taco. It could be sushi. Oftentimes, it's a sandwich, as is the case with Salt Hanks, is the newest hype sandwich place in New York City. Salt Hank, who has over 1 million followers, on Instagram.
So he started as an influencer.
As an influencer, I believe a cooking influencer, and now has a sandwich shop in the West Village. And they only do one thing. It's a prime rib French dip. With caramelized onions. You dunk it in jus. That is one of the big places with a line right now, at least the newest. And then there are some pizza places that always have lines. There's Lindustry in the West Village. There's Lucali. What else is there? Taco places. Taqueria Ramirez has had a long line forever. Café Pana, the ice cream place, has a long line always.
The line that I really do want to try is the lechon place in Mott Haven in the Bronx. This like trailer with pork.
Oh, that place is a blast.
Have you been there?
Oh, yeah. You wait in line. It's called Lechonera La Piranha.
I've read on the site that people bring lawn chairs, they get beer from the bodega, they hang out.
Yeah, it's like an all-day thing because my editor, Sonal, I think once spent 6 hours in that line because you never really know how long this chef is going to take. He's a guy just running around with a machete. He's in a tank top. He's drinking beer or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a real wild card. He'll disappear for 20 minutes at a time to go get more roast pork and bring it back. But then once you get to the front of the line, wow, that pork is delicious.
See, that is a line that I can get behind.
So yeah, I have noticed increasingly New York City having these lines, and I think that it is a post-pandemic thing because back when we were working together before the pandemic, for The Infatuation, writing about restaurants in New York City, how many lines do you remember waiting in?
Very few. It feels absolutely connected to the pandemic, partly because I think the more people who are working from home or have some amount of like hybrid work schedule, they have flexibility. They aren't reporting to an office necessarily, so they can sneak away at 3 p.m. or whatever, 11 a.m. and wait in line at a place called I'm Donut.
I Am Donut?
I'm Donut?
I Am Donut, ? I think. It's a new Japanese donut place in Times Square. It had a huge line. I don't know if it still does. A lot of these line places are bakeries, right? Dominique Ansel was one of the first.
Dominique Ansel was a line OG.
Yeah.
Dominique Ansel is responsible for the cronut, which is, if you haven't had it, a hybrid between...
I had a cronut.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Bryan. You call yourself a food writer.
No, I'm sorry.
It's a hybrid between a croissant and a donut, and it's flaky, and it has layers. It's pretty good. But when Dominique Ansel started selling these cronuts, people lost their minds. They were waiting in line. There are New York Times articles you can read about that phenomenon of how wild it was that there were human beings standing on the sidewalk for a treat. And now, I think partly because of pop-up culture, I think a lot because of social media culture, it's sort of commonplace.
And now there are so many around the city, bakeries, sandwich places, ice cream places. And I'm not saying these places aren't good and you shouldn't wait in line for them. I'm just saying there are a lot now. And we used to be embarrassed to wait in line for things like donuts.
Used to be.
Donuts.
I'm still embarrassed. I'm
still like usually embarrassed. If not embarrassed, then just like severely annoyed.
Totally.
But it used to be like, oh, Dominic Ansel, who waits in that line?
I know.
You're tourists.
Yeah.
And now everybody's doing it. It's 12 matcha in NoHo.
Oh, yeah.
I waited 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
For a matcha.
For a
matcha in the morning. Like, who has 45 minutes on a weekday?
You sound so unwell.
Well, first off, it wasn't my choice. It was for work. And second off, it was pretty good matcha. It was like pretty delicious.
Would you do it again?
No. Like, why would you wait 45 minutes for a matcha? It was a delicious matcha.
How much, more delicious is that matcha than...
50%.
50% more delicious?
50% more delicious.
Wow.
Still not worth it.
Wow.
Yeah. But also, do I was it actually 50% more delicious, or did I convince myself that it was because I waited 45 minutes and didn't want to feel like a chump at the end?
I think you convinced yourself.
Joining us for a fun segment, we have NYC staff writer Willa Moore. Willa covers a lot of buzzy new openings in New York City, notably the new Radio Bakery in Prospect Heights, where she once waited an hour and 38 minutes on opening day. Willa also recently reviewed Rayo's, one of the toughest, if not the toughest, reservation in New York City. Willa, great having you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited you're here.
Me too. Willa, do you think of yourself as a prolific line waiter?
I don't mind the line. I would wait online if I have to for this job.
That's an important distinction to make. You are a native New Yorker, so you say online.
Yes. Are you guys online or inline?
I'm inline.
Okay, I'm from Seattle. I've lived here 17 years, but I am from Seattle, so I say in line. I think New York's the only online place.
I think so. Yes, but there's a lot of us, so I'll take it.
There's a lot of it.
So yes, onlines all the time.
It seems like you're always on some line.
Thank you for staying on.
Of course, I'm
And
very
online.
respectful.
And also online.
It just seems
Yes,
like
that's
you're
true.
always just waiting online somewhere. Have you been waited in any lines recently? On any lines?
I think that the last major line I was in was at Radio Bakery in Prospect Heights on opening day.
And you're usually like pretty down to do it too. It doesn't really annoy you.
Yeah, I think I never waited on lines before I had this job for the most part. I tried to think on the way here about a line that I had waited on before this job. I could only think of one. And
What was it?
it was like I bought a box of donuts that was like a collaboration between Golden Diner, that Chinatown diner,
Yeah.
and Conby, that like LA restaurant that's
yes.
since
I actually
closed.
remember this exact collab.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I feel like I wanted to go to both of those places, but I couldn't figure out how to get to LA, and Golden Diner seemed hard to get into. So I was like, I will get the donut collab, and I like dragged my dad along, and then we had to wait online even though I'd pre-ordered. And what's crazy is that like I don't even like donuts. Like I actually don't like donuts. So it's like once I had them, I was kind of like staring at them, and I was just sort of like, why'd I do this?
It's
Why do you
almost as
think-
if the line was the whole point.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Since you have waited in a lot of lines for work, what lines are the most embarrassing in New York City?
New lines are definitely the most, in my opinion, slightly more embarrassing than forever lines, aka the ones that you'd find at Lindustry or Emilio's Blotto. I don't even know yet if the thing at the end of the line is going to be good. And so you're standing in line for something and you don't even know if it's actually going to taste delicious, you know? Yeah, that would be a huge letdown. So
It's embarrassing because you're just not sure, like you're taking a
You're
chance.
being
There's something
vulnerable.
embarrassing about taking a chance.
I think it's more like, it's like, oh, am I really going to waste an hour and a half of this morning on a sandwich that is
A question mark for you.
lackluster in the end? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think that the most embarrassing line I've ever stood on is probably the Bispel line, just because like it's hard to understand the magic of Bispel until you've had one crunchy bite.
You know, it's more embarrassing.
What?
Pura Vida, that one.
That is,
You ever
I
heard it?
don't know what's
It's a Miami import. I've waited in very long lines there.
What do you get there?
Very embarrassing.
Smoothies? It sounds like something like an airport kiosk.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to pay more than you should for a chicken kale Caesar wrap.
I'm hoping it would be actually $26.
Well, for this next game we're going to play, I need you to be in like the mindset of non-infatuation writer, just somebody going out, checking out a restaurant,
sure.
not waiting in a line for work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's hear you, but you're not you.
Perfect.
Totally. Okay. Sounds good.
We're calling this game How Long Would You Wait? So we're going to name a restaurant
Okay.
and you say how long you'd wait in line.
Okay.
Okay, first up, maybe Lindustry Pizza. Williamsburg or West Village? Which is longer
let's
line?
go with Williamsburg.
Okay.
I would wait 15 minutes for a slice of pizza at Lindustry, probably the one with like the burrata on top, which I feel like is one of the best uses of burrata
Totally.
in New York. Maybe soft serve as well.
That's a fair response, especially just like for pizza in New York City, like waiting in line for a slice is maybe, it doesn't make the most sense because there are so many places you can get a good slice. But I will say that waiting in line at Lindustry, which is considered one of the top slice shops in New York City,
Absolutely.
has a location in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and the West Village in Manhattan. The lines move surprisingly fast. So
Yeah.
15 minutes, you could do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a slice of pizza or a pie at the end of the line.
Yeah.
I think that for me is really important. Like if you're going to get there and then they're going to be like, oh, we're sold out.
Oh,
Sorry.
well, that is unconscious.
You know,
It'll work.
unconscionable. Yes.
Quick cue, a real quick cue. Is there a slice you would wait longer for in New York?
I have waited longer for Chrissy's pizza.
That is not what I asked. And
But
also,
I
they don't
think
do
that
slices.
I would anymore. I don't think I would anymore.
Do it again. What's
No.
Chrissy's Pizza?
It was like it started as a pop-up out of a Bushwick apartment, and then it was briefly in Lower Manhattan, and then it moved to Greenpoint and opened a brick and mortar. It's like, it was the hottest pizza, no slices, only pies, Greenpoint shop of 2024.
Right. So there's no slice that you would wait longer for than Lindustry.
No.
Okay, you heard it here. Willa Moore thinks Lindustry is the best slice in the city. Moving on, I've got a good one. Willa maybe has mixed feelings about this place. I think she's a big fan. It's an import from Australia. They have 2 locations in New York City right now. There's one in Nomad, one in NoHo, I want to say. It's called This Bowl. How long would you wait for, let's say, one of their fish and rice, salmon miso?
Oh, no, I got it.
Gratin bowls.
For the OG bowl
Yeah.
with the salmon sashimi
Absolutely.
at This Bowl,
Mhm.
I would wait 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cutting into
Yeah.
the lunch break. Brian has described it as poke meets sweet green.
It is absolutely, yeah.
That's
I
what
think
it
it
is.
is poke
Yeah.
sweet green.
But
it's
why
like
is it
better
special?
than
Why are
it's-
people waiting for it?
It's like poke meets sweet green, but it's better than that. It's like the actual store sort of feels like a club meets a surf lodge
sure.
in Australia,
Right.
and everyone there is Australian that serves you.
The music's really loud.
Loud.
Everybody in line
Absolutely
looks
chaotic.
like they're about to go to like some workout class.
Or-
Why would they be
or-
eating before
yeah.
that?
You're not
They're not
selling
sweaty
it.
enough to
It's
have come from a workout.
Doesn't
That's
sound
the thing.
good
It's like
for me.
it's sort of like this. All the setup gets you to a place where you're like, oh, I would not like it there.
Yeah.
And then you like it there. And
Yeah.
I know Brian likes it.
Have you waited 20 minutes?
I waited 20
I've
minutes
waited
for
like
him.
maybe 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I went.
And
to
then
the-
Willa's also waited for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, the next one I have not tried but have strong feelings about already, which is Danny and Coops.
Well, I feel like you should share your strong feelings.
Well, answer the question. How long would you wait for Danny and Coops? A cheesesteak at Danny and Coops.
I mean, I recently had my first Danny and Coops cheesesteak, and I did think that it was really good.
Totally.
I have heard that the line has sort of dissipated.
long?
I'd probably wait like 25 to 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That's a decent amount of time.
I really liked it.
For sure.
And I really liked the hot peppers on the side.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Now, how long would you wait if Bradley Cooper, co-owner, how long would you wait if Brad was on the grill?
35.
Whoa.
Give it an extra 5 for the Bradley sighting behind the grill. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna it's still not gonna stun me into an hour plus wait. You know,
Mhm.
Right.
there aren't that many places I
Right,
wait
right,
an
right.
hour for.
Okay. Well, Hannah, real quick, what was your beef with
Well,
Danny and Coops?
I just think, just come to Philly to eat a cheesesteak.
Just wondering though, have you actually tried it?
Okay. And I won't.
Totally.
I won't.
I'm not 100% sure I know how you feel about this place. I think you're a fan. It's called Bernie's in Greenpoint. Bernie's! Inventor of the mozzarella stick, I'm pretty sure. I'm just
right.
Isn't it?
They didn't invent. They didn't
No,
invent the
they did
mozzarella
not invent
sticks.
the mozzarella stick. Bernie's, Greenpoint.
Mhm.
I like it. So it's a sit-down American restaurant, and
Pretty
you're
much
waiting
TGI
for
Fridays, right?
it is TGI Fridays
Yeah.
in Greenpoint. But recently, I went there at 6 p.m. and they told me they were closed for the night. Like the walk-in books were
We're
closed.
fully committed.
Yeah. And that really made me upset. The waiting at Bernie's is a little confusing to me because basically you line up on the sidewalk before they've opened, or that's the way you should do it if you really want to get a table tonight. But then if there is a wait for a table, they tell you you can leave, but they won't take your phone number. So you just kind of have to go and hope for the best.
Oh my God.
Which gives me a lot of stress. So if you're willing to get there at 4 or something,
Yeah.
and your entire party is there, I think you can wait 30 minutes, and I have done that before, and I would do it again.
How are they supposed to tell
They're
you?
like, it'll be about 30 minutes.
Oh.
And then you come loiter outside in 30
Yeah,
minutes?
but you technically can go get a drink somewhere else, but they're not going to call you to tell you your table's ready.
What's your favorite thing at Bernie's?
the amount of martinis that I drink there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if
30
any of the
minutes for
food.
this
Like,
many
I
martinis at Bernie's.
At Bernie's.
yeah,
Okay.
I like the mozzarella sticks, but like as you said, they're the inventor, aka not the inventor of the mozzarella sticks.
You're not waiting for food at Bernie's. You're waiting for Bernie's.
No, but all the food is enjoyable, especially if you've waited 30
Enjoyable.
minutes and you've drank at least 1.5 martinis.
All right. How about Emilio's Bolado?
I was thinking on the way here, I think that Emilio's Bolado might be my favorite line. And so I would wait a nice amount of time for a table at Emilio's Bolado, like an hour, maybe.
What do you like about Emilio's Bolado?
I just like that it's like you just stand there and then you
Stand
stand
in
there.
house.
I mean, not the line, the restaurant itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell
you're
me-
talking about what I like.
Tell me what
No,
you like.
we'll get to the line in a second. Paint me a
Well,
picture.
it's just like it's an old school Italian restaurant, but I think that I've eaten at a lot of old school Italian restaurants in New York, and a lot of them don't serve like the most incredible food, but obviously deliver on
Mhm.
vibes.
Yes.
But I really like the food at Emilio's Bolado. I know that some people, perhaps you, have had slightly different reactions to the food at Emilio's Bolado.
I think that I probably said it wasn't amazing, but it was definitely good.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, you could spot a celebrity, so that's sort of like a
Sure.
bonus point of your meal there. But like the off-menu veal parm with
Yeah.
the prosciutto,
The veal
in it,
parm is delicious.
like, you cannot deny
Yeah.
that that's not delicious. And all you have to do to eat it is stand outside.
The last time I went to Emilio's Bolado, it was at 11 p.m. with Arden Shore.
Sure.
And we were sort of like frantically running around downtown trying to figure out where we wanted to eat. And there was still a wait at 11 p.m.
Well, I've heard that actually the best way to do the line at Emilio's Bolado, which Britt Lamb told me, our social media manager, is to actually just go for lunch.
I
On the
mean,
weekend.
yeah. I mean, that's the easiest way to get in anywhere. Another one in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, Taqueria Ramirez.
The thing about Taqueria Ramirez is that it's a taco shop in Greenpoint. It often has a line. But I don't know, like, where else I could get something like that in New York City, except at Carnitas Ramirez, which is their other restaurant, but that they only focus on pork and pig products. So I'd give it like a 20 minutes. Taqueria Ramirez and Carnitas Ramirez are two of my favorite taco shops in New York, so I think I'd be willing to wait at both of them. I don't think that Carnitas Ramirez has as long of a line. I've never waited online there. It's actually an important distinction. I feel like there's two types of lines. There's like forever lines and then new lines.
Yeah.
So like a new line is a place that is hot right now, like Carnitas Ramirez when it
will die
opened,
down.
or Danny and Coop's when
Danny
it
and
opened.
Coop's,
I've
yeah.
heard that line is way manageable now. And then there's forever lines like Emilio's Bolado, Lucali, honestly Lindustry as well.
Café Pana, that's a forever line.
Yeah, forever line, yeah. And I think that forever lines are better because it's not as much of a hype thing. It's also
Sure.
that people just want to eat there. I prefer forever lines.
Final question, real quick. Is there any line you would wait in? Is there any food you would wait in line for an hour for? Anything you'd spend in line an hour for? Does that make
Would
sense?
you
Would you
wait
wait-
an hour? Yeah.
Would you wait an hour in line anywhere?
Well, there are places that I would wait an hour in line for, but you actually can't do that. Like
What do you mean?
I would wait in an hour-long line to go to Rayo's, but you can't do that.
Yes. So
Sure.
somewhere that you could.
I don't think so, but like I say that with the knowledge that I have waited more than an hour in many places for this job.
Mhm.
But if I didn't have this job, I would not wait more than an hour.
Yeah.
Great.
But other people do, and I respect that greatly. I just think like if I'm at Radio Bakery on the morning of opening, like, and everybody around me that's also online is just there because they love baked goods, like, I don't know, rock on. I would never hate on someone for that. I think that's cool. And if they're really just there to post it on Instagram, so be it. I just think
He feels
sometimes,
different.
yeah, I think it's like, there's some judgment there, but I don't.
I judge people in line for sure. For sure.
Okay.
Well, I'm just like, put some strategy into it, babe. Pick another time, or pick another place.
Why do you think lines are such a big phenomenon in New York City right now? Do you think lines are the whole point?
Well,
and what do you think
good
they get out of it?
story,
Okay,
like,
so a story.
it's like a resilience story. Like
Yeah.
I waited
Yeah.
in the 90-degree weather for my ice cream cone,
Yeah.
and it's always going to taste better, I think, if you've
Mhm.
waited on the line, because then by the time you get to the front, it's
100%.
like Oh my God. I'm like, when you go to Lucali, like
Mhm.
by the time you get to dinner, you have drank like 8 bottles of wine. So
Right.
that pizza is going to taste amazing. They're going to kick you out after like 50
But
to
you could eat
55
you could eat
minutes.
dog food and be excited.
That is true. That is true.
It's not really true. Willa, thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you in the office tomorrow at 9 a.m.
I can't wait.
Thanks, Willa!
Where are you waiting in line, or where are you refusing to wait in line? Throw us your answer in the comment section. So Hannah, in your opinion, do lines make food better or worse? Interpret that how you will.
I think the food gets markedly worse. So there's a amazing bagel shop called Kettle Black in Northern Liberties in Philly. And they make these beautiful sourdough bagels that are like, they have tiny little bubbles and they have a lot of tang and they're delicious. They are sold out by 10 a.m. every day. And I have waited in line twice, but I've been so anxious about making sure I get there early enough. It almost makes the bagel experience like not worth having because I don't want to have an anxious bagel. I want to have a good bagel. The more I anticipate something, the worse it's going to be.
Wow.
Yeah, I have anxiety, proud of it.
Oh.
And so I'm stewing. What am I doing here? Who am I? Where am I?
Yeah.
Am I even hungry?
Sure.
What could I have done during this time?
Mhm.
No way it's going to live up to my expectations.
So we figured it out for you. Lines make food worse for you because you are an angry and anxious person. But then what about for line people? Do you think that it could conceivably make food better or worse for line people?
Well, I think there are line people and there are anti-line people. And you can't really convert. I'm not a line person. If you're a line person, like our friends Alberto and Annalise, the line is the chase. The line is getting something to like you back. I mean, what do you think personally? Are you like for not work, for personal reasons, are you a line person?
You wait in line for Lucali. It's so much fun. So much effort. Again,
So much effort.
Right? So at the end, you just, it feels like this magical food that you're eating because it's at the end of your journey.
Right.
This journey that took so long and you faced so many challenges along the way. You had to find a place to drink while you were waiting for a table. You had to go pick up a bottle of wine. You had to convince the host to give you a better time slot than the one they first offered, right? So you overcame all these challenges, and at the end of your journey, you get that Lucali Pizza pie, and it tastes amazing, or at least you convince yourself it tastes amazing. To this day,
Because if it's not amazing, then what are you left with?
Exactly. So, because of all of that, to this day, I still don't know if Lucali is incredible or simply very good. But then I also see a lot of people complaining about things that aren't worth it, not worth the hype.
Yeah, totally. That's part of the perk of a line, I would say.
Yeah,
You get to weigh in and say, this was worth it, this wasn't worth it.
So, Hannah, lines, good or bad for restaurants, ultimately? What do you think?
Well, I mean, objectively good. More people going to your restaurant, that's never going to be a bad thing.
Sure, makes sense.
I think what a line could do that is harmful is set expectations so high. I mean, at Lucali, what percentage of people go and you're like, why did I do that? Why did I wait for this? I thought this was going to be the best thing ever. No pizza can be that good. Like, you know, pizza has a ceiling of how delicious it can be. And keeping up year after year, week after week, with those expectations seems really hard. Restaurants are run by people. People make mistakes.
And then also, when you first open up, it's got to be real stressful to have this, if you go viral for whatever reason, to have this line just suddenly form down the block. And then you're just busy every day. Maybe you hire more people. Maybe you buy more product. And then if the hype then disappears.
On to the next thing. You know, an example in Philly is a restaurant called Middle Child Clubhouse, which during brunch started serving these delicious pancakes with like orange zest and honey, and they became a viral sensation. People from all over the city, people from Jersey, people from Delaware, people from New York, I'm sure, started coming to this restaurant on weekends for these pancakes specifically. They were flooded with like tourists essentially. And that's not a bad thing, but it also means like the waiting experience, the ordering experience is like really being twisted because of this one viral sensation. I personally will not go to Middle Child Clubhouse on the weekends because I want to avoid that entire scene.
So
if you live in Philly, go to Middle Child Clubhouse during the week. and get a breakfast burrito. But our team reached out to Café Pana, Hallie Meyer, who runs Café Pana in Union Square, because we wanted to find out if, how people who run restaurants actually feel about having really long lines.
Right, and so let's see what Hallie said. We asked, what are the pros and cons of having a long line? Hallie said, pros are that it means we're doing something right. A big chunk of the people in the line are people who have waited in the line before.
But I do think it's notable, everyone we talked to in the corner store line yesterday had not been to the corner store.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of the lines that I've waited in, it is more often than not if I'm traveling, if I know I have time that is like, whatever, I don't have to be anywhere, and I'm only going to wait in a line once. I'm not going to be a repeat line waiter.
So neither of us are line people. I do wait in a lot of lines around the city, but this conversation, even though I wait in so many lines, this conversation was kind of eye-opening for me. I do think that for a lot of people, for line people, lines are actually the point, right? Lines are the fun. It's some game you're joining in. Is it worth it? A lot of the time is the name of the game. And you want to play that game with everybody else. You want to put up a TikTok and say, it was worth it or it wasn't worth it. And that's just this game that we're all playing in New York City right now.
I'm grateful that I live in a city that is not so liney, but I do think the lines show that people are really fired up about handheld foods, about bakeries. Like, this is proof that there are an incredible amount of exciting foods you can get for less than $20. Like, we knew that already, but I think there's such a hunger for, like, I'm going to commit to this restaurant. I'm going to commit 3 hours of my time for this restaurant. That's notable to me. Talk about restaurant people. Maybe line people are restaurant people.
Yes, everybody's a restaurant people. If you go to a restaurant once,
you're a restaurant person.
If you like this episode, please make sure to like, follow, subscribe to Restaurant People on YouTube or your preferred podcast platform.
And if you want to figure out which line to wait in next, or read Bryan's guide to the toughest reservations in New York City so you don't have to wait in line, go to our website at theinfatuation.com or follow us on Instagram at Infatuation.
I'm Bryan.
And I'm Hannah.
And this was Restaurant People, brought to you by Infatuation.